Happy to welcome a Montana native back to our home state. Let's welcome Maurina.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you here.
So I look forward to being your drug dealer for the next 20 minutes. I get to go tell my mom I was a drug dealer in Bozeman. As Marnie mentioned, I'm the director of demand gen at Sumo Logic. I do not have the obligatory Sumo Logic slide. I will probably get my hand slapped for that. But I will tell you a little bit about Sumo. So we are a machine data analytics platform. We sell to security practitioners and IT practitioners. And we've been around for about 10 years. Sumo Logic HQ is in Redwood City, which is about 20 miles south of San Francisco. A little bit more about me. As Marnie mentioned, I am originally from Montana, born and raised about 2 hours west of here. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm excited. I'm excited to be back in my home state, talking about what I'm doing in Silicon Valley. So I've been in Redwood City area for about 12 years in Silicon Valley, really running and starting demand gen programs, everything from process, working with SDRs, working with nurturing, building life cycles and such. As you can imagine, growing up in small town Anaconda, which is the name of my hometown, and living in Silicon Valley has very stark differences. So I wanted to walk through 3 things you can get away with in Montana, but not in the Bay Area. And I will say I have not tried to do this in the Bay Area yet. I don't think I will. So the first thing, you can actually walk into somebody's house and remove their furniture and put it in their front yard. We don't lock our doors in Montana. You do when you're in Silicon Valley. So yeah, as a prank, my friends and I went in and moved their furniture into their front yard. Secondly, and I may regret this, I'm actually going to talk about dog poop in front of my peers. We did the dog poop in a paper bag, light on fire, a prank for a friend. In fact, the flames were so high, we actually did not get the fire department called on us, but they were very high. The neighbors came out and was wondering what was going on, and then they said, "Oh, Marina's in town, we know." And then lastly, this is probably my favorite. We actually made a swimming pool out of a truck bed. Yeah, let me just pause there. That's a tweetable moment, I think. A swimming pool out of a truck bed, and we drove around in the back of it. And we had noodles all around Anaconda. And nothing, not even a pullover, not even a ticket, nothing. So my point is, growing up in Montana was awesome. We got away with some things. Living in Silicon Valley is just as awesome. But yeah, these are, I'm not going to go back to Silicon Valley and try these. But you can if you live in Montana. So let's get to the point, right, the real stuff. So the idea of integrated marketing and the idea of multi-touch nurture, however you want to put it, it's this idea of getting the right message to the right person at the right time using different channels. And we talk about it, right? It's in theory, it's a great idea. We have platforms, we have services, that's awesome. But one of the things that I was concerned about is nobody really told me how, right? Nobody really showed me, well, how do you connect these systems? How do you do this? What do the guts look like? And so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to show you screenshots of our Marketo instance, and I'm gonna walk you through exactly kind of how we did this and how we strung this all together. And the idea for this came to me as I was sitting at a trade show, and we had just simple T-shirts. We were giving them away, and we had a line around the corner. And I looked at another booth, and there was a line for some tchotchke, robot. And I was like, people love free stuff. Nothing new, right? I mean, I love free stuff. I'll take a pair of socks or a T-shirt or whatever. And so I was like, how do you marry this offline free stuff thing and put it into a digital world? And then I was like, okay, well, how do you then take ads and show the same message to the same person as they go through this? So example would be Joe at Acme Company is in our database. They're upper funnel. He gets an ad, he gets an email that looks the same, he gets a direct mail package that looks the same, and as he moves through our scoring campaigns, he gets a whole new set of emails and a whole new set of ads and a whole new set of direct mails that all look the same but maybe have different messages. And that's his experience through our funnel. And again, in theory, it was really, really cool. And I sat down and I said, okay, well, how am I going to do this? And I ran into this, right? I think Jeff, I think it was, talked about tech stack, right? There are a lot of choices. And I was like, how do I string direct mail, social, email ads all together? How do they know? How does PFL know that Joe at Acme is at a certain place in the funnel? How does Terminus know that that Joe at Acme is a certain place in the funnel? And I should have shown a screenshot, but I literally just sat down and started writing if-then statements. If Joe at Acme's score is 5, show this ad. If his score is 17, show this ad, et cetera, et cetera. Before I go into my use cases, I want to talk about some definitions a little bit. I think as a marketing community, we tend to say the same word but mean different things. What something means to me may be completely different what it means to you. So before I go into use cases, just some definitions. Prospect versus customer. We often talk about a customer journey. At Sumo, we define a customer post-sales. So we talk about a prospect journey. A prospect to us is anybody in the funnel that has not paid for Sumo Logic yet. MQL. I'm going to step on my soapbox just for a hot second here with MQL. So again, as a marketing community, we talk about MQLs, and we often read studies about your MQL conversion rate should be this. MQL conversion rate for anybody here is probably vastly different. What is an MQL? For Sumo, it's something completely different than maybe it's for Medtronic. Conversion rate, what does that really mean? Right? Does it mean there's a meeting set? Does it mean there's a click? Does it mean a form fill? It could mean anything. And I think what we get in trouble with is we look at these studies, but nobody defines, well, here's what the MQL definition was in this study, and here's what the conversion rate was in this study. So I don't have a fix for that. Again, I just wanted to air my grievances with, my boss will say, well, this study says the MQL conversion rate is this, and this study says it's this. And I'm like, they're probably measuring two completely different things. So our definition of an MQL, it must be a new logo. It's not, the person must be a new logo. It's not currently attached to an open opportunity. It has 25 plus activity points. And for us, that's about 3 to 4 touch points. So if somebody goes to sumologic.com, downloads a white paper, we don't call them yet. If somebody registers for a webinar, we don't call them yet. If somebody clicks a link, we don't call them yet. So it's a combination of a couple of different touch points. We also have to have a first name, a last name, and an email address. And then lastly, this is our abbreviated funnel. So everything up here is really sort of marketing-led and marketing initiatives. And then we go into the sales cycle. And literally that is opportunities in Salesforce, people attached to those. So the 2 case studies I'm going to walk you through. One is always on. It is literally always on. Folks in our funnel experience those things. And then the next one is a hosted event, it's a much smaller case study. It has a start date and a stop date, but we did use sort of this integrated approach to drive butts and seats. And hosted event for us is just literally we have to drive butts and seats. So always on, the whole idea of this, if I take you back to that trade show where people were lining up for free t-shirts, I wanted to create more MQLs. A lot of us have a lot of people in our database that just sit there for years perhaps. How do we get them to get more interest in your product, in your company? We send them a blog post. We send them a 6-page white paper that they're probably never going to read. We send them a solutions brief that we think it's really great, but again, probably not super interested. So the idea is how do I take these 100,000 new logo people, push them down the funnel a little bit faster, make them more interested in Sumo Logic? And we built this multi-channel approach, and we stopped sending blog posts, and we started sending direct mail pieces and inviting them to fill out surveys for direct mail pieces, as well as sending them ads, etc. So this is sort of on a very holistic level what our multi-touch integrated approach looks like. I'll start over here. So our inquiry bucket is really built into 2 different levels. The first one, you come into our funnel, you get a chance to you get some emails, you get ads, you get a chance to fill out a form for a direct mail piece, and then the direct mail piece. You'll also notice that these all look and feel kind of the same. The imagery is the same, the colors are the same. We actually hired an agency to come on board and build the look and feel of this. So you can see, probably not very well, but there's this little plus sign that says know the signs. That's on all of everything, and that was kind of the theme of it. This second row, same thing. As they move through the funnel, the message changes. So we talk a little bit more about Sumo Logic here. At the very top, it's a little bit more educational about the cloud as they enter their journey into Sumo Logic. We are a cloud-based company. And then here are touch points within the sales cycle. So we recognize that there was some friction within our sales cycle in terms of, yeah, we would have a first meeting, but maybe they wouldn't call back, or maybe we couldn't get another meeting. So we have automatic triggers that send thank yous after meetings happen. And then this is after POCs happen. So with the essence of time, I felt like that was really loud. With the essence of time, I'm just going to dig into the inquiry 2 level and kind of, again, I'm going to show you screenshots. I'm going to talk if-then statements. You're going to see what we have in Marketo that shows you how they qualify, how they get sent the PFL direct mail. I'm going to talk a little bit how we use Terminus in this situation as well. So I will say, for this particular one, in the hosted event, it worked a little bit easier. But the Terminus ad lineup here is a little, there's an asterisk there. Not because I juiced when I did this, but because of, Terminus, as you may know, is ABM, so it's account-based. What I really wanted to do was, if they're a member of this program, show this ad, or if their score is this, show this ad. We sort of lined it up, and basically we're saying, if they're in North America and they're strategic, and their opportunity, if they don't have an opportunity, show them this ad. And then we had account progression rules to show different ads. So this doesn't line up 100% with our segment, but it gets us almost there. Next, we have 2 different Marketo programs in Marketo. We have an email program, and then we have a direct mail program. So if you think about it, record comes in, they qualify, they get a series of emails or chances to fill out a form for a direct mail. If they do that, they get then requested and pulled into the direct mail program, and they progress through there with their own statuses. I will also say, in the direct mail form, we obviously ask them their shipping address, but we also ask them qualifying questions. So things like, do you want to decrease your MTTI and MTTR? That's Sumo Logic speak. Or do you have a log management program? And those get synced to Salesforce. So when and if a record goes through this and becomes an MQL, our sales team is armed with a little bit more information. So they know a little bit more about the record and what they're looking to do. All right, so here's the nerdy stuff. All right, so this is our email program. When somebody comes in, they have to qualify, right? So the score is between 5 and 17 is how you qualify. And then this basically just says they're in the US. So right now we only do this for the US. And then these are the series of emails that they get. So as you know, we don't have 100% email open rate or click-through rate. So they get multiple chances to partake in a direct mail. And again, all the while, they're getting shown ads that look the same and feel the same as these emails. And if they don't progress, or if they don't fill out, they actually go into our regular nurture stream and then cycle back through this. So they'll eventually get another chance to fill out a direct mail form. This is just what it looks like when they fill out a form. So our success status is engaged and accelerated in our email program. And then this just says, pulls them into the direct mail. So it moves their status, and then it pulls that person into the direct mail program. And this is where the direct mail program starts. So once you get engaged and accelerated, you fill out the form to get the direct mail. You then get pulled into the direct mail program. Here are all the statuses within the direct mail program. And then your initial status is member. And then we have a specific PFL, if you're familiar with PFL, a specific PFL field for this particular direct mail. It basically says, if it's not empty, we know it's being sent. So you get moved to sent. And then this is the backside of that. So it basically just pulls the PFL webhook that we built. And then it also then will send the prospect an email that says, thank you for your request. If you have any issues, please email us. And then the bottom half of the email actually shows the address that they put in. So if they look at the address and they see some errors, they can go ahead and email us, but they get a look at the address that they filled in. And then lastly, delivered. So again, this is a specific field for this direct mail. We're listening to make sure it's delivered. And once that is populated with delivered, it moves to the delivered status. So here is the screenshot of all of the sort of internal alerts that we have and the external emails that go to the prospect. So I showed you the example of the submission confirmation that just says, thank you for your request. Here's the address you filled out, et cetera, et cetera. We have an alert that goes to the account owner and the record owner in sales that says, this is being shipped. We also then send an email to the prospect that say, here's your FedEx number, it is being shipped. And then once it's delivered, we have an internal alert and a delivery confirmation that goes to the prospect. The delivery alert is probably the most important, especially for sales. Once they get that alert, they then wait a couple hours, call the prospect. Hey, did you get your gift? What do you think of it, et cetera, et cetera. So that, at a very high level, is sort of how we strung together an always-on multi-touch nurture. That theory and that system plays into this inquiry one and also in these post-sales. So the results. So when we first started this, again, the whole reason was to create MQLs from this sort of essentially dead database. We increased MQL creation 10% quarter over quarter while maintaining the same conversion rate. And I'm smiling because I went on a soapbox about those exact words. So you know what an MQL is for us. Conversion rate literally means a meeting is set and an opportunity is created. So we create an MQL, 70% of those, or 17 out of 100 meetings are set with that. And we did not see a dip in that conversion rate even when we started this program. So on average, we create about 3,500 MQLs a quarter, and about 200 of those were created through the typical nurture, the blog post, the white paper. When we added this, we increased that to 800, and then by increasing that to 800, we added about 3 to 4 million in pipe gen. Also, it provides a reason for SDRs to call. I talked about this, right? It's if you're in the sales world or you work with sales, cold calling people because they have the right title or whatever is very, very hard. So giving sales a reason to call is extremely important. And they're simply just saying, hey, did you get your package? What did you think? Do you have any questions? Et cetera, et cetera. In the sales cycle, the bottom two, where we trigger off of opportunity stage movement, we actually often receive thank yous from the prospect to the rep. Hey, thank you for the package. I look forward to continuing a conversation with you and Sumo Logic. And so that was really surprising to the reps. Like, they were actually reaching out to us, was a direct quote from sales. So the last one, the hosted event, again, this had a start and stop date. The whole goal was to get butts and seats in an event in New York. And if you run events, you know how hard it is just in general to get butts and seats. And if you have ever done anything in New York, it's insanely, it's hard. I mean, traffic is bad, the weather could be bad, the Yankees could be losing and nobody wants to go out. So, so this one, I wanted to take an integrated approach as well. And so I put this sort of on a timeline because what I did is I said the event is May 23rd. I'm going to work backwards from there. And I'm going to have a direct mail reminder actually drop on people's desks 8 days before. All the while, sending email invites for people to register. And then I'm also going to send a direct mail invite. So yes, you can register via email, but you can also register if you get a direct mail invite that has the URL, et cetera. And then all the while, these ads are showing. And these ads for this one are actually a little bit easier to match up for the segment. Not as loud, hopefully. So I'll walk through the ads at first. So we use a platform, a predictive analytics tool called 6 Sense. And basically what we said is if you're in New Jersey or New York and your 6 Sense profile is strong and your buying stage is decision and you're a prospect customer and you're in our profile, send this ad. And this ad just basically says register for this event. So here we're targeting very high level people that are in a purchase and decision stage for our particular product. This next one is basically it's a tier 1. So tier 1 for us is a custom field on the account where sales can actually pick that this is a tier 1 account. And then that the prospect or customer, and again, the billing state is New Jersey and New York. So this is, these folks sales has basically said, this is a good account for me. And then the previous one is 6 Sense saying these guys are in purchase and decision. Check my time. So this is the look of Marketo when we were sending the direct mail invite. So we matched it up with the ad segment saying that account buying stage is purchase and decision, you're in New York, and you're not already registered for this event. We're gonna send you a direct mail invite to register for the event. And then this is the look in Marketo for the reminder. And this is probably the easiest one to build. It just basically says if you're registered for this event, send a direct mail invite. The challenging part about this was working with PFL to figure out when we needed to push go, so the direct mail invite actually landed on the desk 7 to 8 days before the event. So we had to time it out in terms of, I'm gonna hit go today, I'm gonna approve it, you're gonna mail, it's gonna take 3 to 4 days to ship, and then it's gonna land on this day. So the results of this particular one, we had one of the highest registrations for a hosted event in general, let alone New York. We had over 200 people register. We had the highest influence event year to date. So a secondary KPI for my team and I is how many are we getting people there that are already in sales cycles? So we look at campaign influence in Salesforce. We had over 1.5 million impressions to 6 Sense targeted accounts. So those were the people in those accounts that said that 6 Sense told us that we're in purchase and decision. And then lastly, when it all was said and done and we uploaded the people who attended, we found out that this event in particular had the highest attendance for tiered accounts. So we had a lot of people register and we had people there that sales wanted, that was the group that sales put the tier 1, where we had the ads go to. So sort of to summarize that, so the 6 Sense folks, the purchase and decision, they received an ad, they received a direct mail invite, they received an email invite. The tiered accounts, also same idea, an ad, an email, and a direct mail invite. And then all the rest just received email invites. So to wrap this up, it's possible. I talked about it being daunting when you think about all these disparate systems, all these disconnected systems. How do I get them all to talk to each other? It is possible. Determine a goal. Again, my original goal was to create more MQLs from this dead database that was not interested in our white paper and not interested in our blog post. And then what are you going to track and how? The reason why I know we increased from 200 MQLs to 800 is we put in tracking. I mean, I needed to measure this if I was going to spend 4 months building it and money. So we built in tracking to say, okay, out of the 3,500 to 4,000 MQLs, here's actually what this program is driving, in addition to all the other stuff we were doing. Plan well in advance. The always on took about 4.5 months from me writing on a document to actually implementation. The hosted event was a little bit quicker, but I still needed to plan in advance because of all the timing that needed to happen with the direct mail invite and the direct mail reminder. So I literally, again, just printed out a calendar and said May 23rd was the date of the event. put an X and when I wanted the reminder to drop, put an X when I wanted the direct mail invite to drop. Write it out. As operations people, if they're in the room, I know some are, we think in if-then statements. So if you were to see the document, it literally is if-then statements. Start small. I think in hindsight, if I were to do this again, I would have started with the hosted event, just because I learned a lot, and I think I could have implemented it in the always on. But start small. If you have an event coming up, get with your designer. If you noticed from the timeline, they all look the same, right? There's a look and a feel that is consistent through all the channels, through all of the tactile things. And then don't forget, people love free stuff. That's it. Thank you.